historic Muathe with Muathe.com. Let's assume I wanted to buy this stock, and I'm not gonna attempt to pronounce the name, but I'll give it a shot. KTKBANK. It's Indian market stock. And here, if I was looking to buy this, this is some of the things I would consider. Number one, this is the 3-year monthly, and we can see that the breakout already took place in February. So a little bit extended from that perspective. So I would not be chasing it on the monthly chart. One thing I do note here in terms of the minimum requirement, it definitely does meet the minimum requirements in that we are looking at the RSI moving to 3-year highs, which is what we want. And here we see that not one but both of the MACDs, we only need one of the MACDs to be moving to 3-year highs, and here we have both MACDs moving to 3-year highs. So yes, for sure the stock meets the minimum requirements for the ultimate Muathe breakout, but the entry here is an issue, so I would consider that as a reason not to use the monthly for an entry. Let's take a look at the weekly, and the weekly chart presents the same type of a situation. You see, ever since this breakout here, we haven't had a rest period of more than 2 weeks. So in other words, the last legit breakout was during this most recent breakout here, and so from that perspective the stock is extended. Now, something else I noticed about the stock, just a little bit of a concern as far as I am concerned, is if you take a look at the long-term month, let's take a look, let's go back about 5 years, no, maybe 6. And personally, I don't like how the stock is all over the place. It just seems like it's not very stable. So if you are looking to own this for a considerable amount of time, let's just say, it presents a situation where it seems to give back a lot of its gains. Now, let's even move out farther. And now we have all data monthly. And I'll show you some of the things that I think could be a problem. And you can see from all this information here, the stock has a tendency of doing some of this. It just seems to be unstable in my opinion. It's all over the place. I hope you can get the drift. And recently it's up. So you start wondering if the next move is actually not going to be down. So I would definitely encourage you to be looking at long-term monthly charts to get a sense of how stocks behave. As an example, let's take a look at the following stock. So here we have a lot of volatility. You can see the stock here has been all over the place. Let's take a look at examples of what to expect when a stock is strong and has a history of doing well, which is what we are looking for. So I'm just gonna go through a list of random names, and all of them are Indian market names. And you can see here, this is what we call quality name. Once it starts moving, it has small pullbacks, but take a look at the difference here. This is in the same time frame, right? So compare and contrast. Compare this one with this one. Which one would you rather own? Take a look at the next one. Recently, we can see once it started picking up momentum, it has held on to the gains. That's what you're looking for. Take a look at the other idea. Visually, this is appealing. You can see that once it started moving higher, you had shallow pullbacks. Ultimately, that's what you get. You want stocks that can hold on to their gains. Here's another example. This is what you're looking for. Keep in mind, all this is in the same time frame. Recently, there's another explosion here, different. So when it starts moving again, you know it has the tendency and the capacity and the behavior and the DNA to hold on to its gains. So you're looking for stocks that can hold on to gains. Here's another one. You can even see here, when it's pulling back, it's orderly. When it's moving higher, it's orderly. And then you can see this explosion here. And again, here we can see holding on to gains. Holding on to gains is what we are looking for. And again, here you had a nice multi-year move it held on to the gains. Finally, it breaks out, settles down, holds on to the gains. Let's take a look at another. And here we have also another good example. Held on to most of the gains during this run. Held on to most of the gains during this run. Held on to most of the gains during this run. And these gains lasted months and months. So you want to look for stocks that have that type of a behavior. Take a look at the last one on the list. Breakout, hold on to gains, settle down, break out again, hold on to gains, settle down, break out, hold on to gains. So that's what we are looking for visually. We don't want stocks that are all over the place. What we are looking for is stocks that when they move, they hold on to the gains, settle down for years or months. When they break out, they have a chance to break out and continue holding on to the gains. So go back to the bank stock and you can see this is not what is desirable. Now I'm going to show you something else that could be a concern in my opinion. And if I go back and take a look at the monthly chart, number one, we can use this monthly closing high there as a buy point. Now I recognize you can use that 2008 monthly closing high as a buy point, and the stock is close to that level. We can see that the price level there to watch for is a monthly closing high at 143.83. So let's say we know that we missed the buy point on a monthly basis recently. So that was the ideal entry here. We missed that. You can move up your buy point by considering the all-time monthly breakout. Keep in mind the stock struggled to move above that level here and is now coming back to test it here. So it needs to hold above 143.83, otherwise this turns into a failed breakout. And I'll show you some of the problems that I personally see if I was looking to buy this, things I would be considering. Number one here is also there's another view which might give me a feeling that this could actually stall. So if I go back and figure out this break point, so this break point here on the monthly, which brings it lower from the 2010 highs. From there we get a substantial pullback. That's a major pullback. If we draw a line from here, this monthly uniformity line becomes a problem. You can see uniform activity rejection here at the highs of 2013, and now we are coming back to test that blue line. I would not be surprised to see that this stalls, and now the stock has a chance, as we are speculating here, that the next major trend, given the behavior of the stock with its up and down movement, it would only make sense that now the next movement might actually be lower, especially if we get confirmation of resistance where we think we are getting resistance on this blue line here. So that would be my concern. There's also another view, which is, and I just want to talk about this just for the sake of it, is the buy points based on these lows of the 09 lows. Nice lows, stock goes on a nice run. We can see that this is where it's been coming back to test this line. There's no question about it. Uniform activity support here for this re-entry on a monthly closing basis. Uniform activity support here for this re-entry on a monthly closing basis. So this being a bank stock, the other thing I would look at the sector and see how the sector was performing. And now we see that it's coming back to test the opposite line, the top side line. So this is a concern level here. Remember, we are early on in the month of April 2017. So it would only make sense that at the end of the month, if this becomes a problem, don't forget that this was also a break level of the highs, major highs of 2008. So here I see a problem with the stock. I would not be an aggressive buyer. Now, I was saying it's also good to always check the sector. So we take a look at the Bank Nifty. In the Bank Nifty, I've been talking about this in my weekend analysis videos, is doing its best to break out. The problem is the Bank Nifty at this moment in time does not have its monthly RSIs at 3-year highs. We also don't have our RSI either at 3-year highs or trading above 69.1. So the Bank Nifty, in my opinion, also adds another layer of just reason not to be an aggressive buy of bank stocks here, just because they seem to be not meeting the minimum requirements. Now if I take a look at a longer picture here for the bank nifty, and this is all data, and let me zoom in. You see the problem here is, we talked about this, and it's coming back to test this level here. This level, as you know, was the break. If you follow the weekend analysis video, clearly you'll see that this has been a problem, and no need of spending a lot of time on this, but this is where it has been stalling. This blue line, let's draw it a little bit different. I'll draw it somewhere around there, is where it's had a problem. Take a look at the major highs, resistance here, major highs. You break below that line, major low, major highs there. You break below here, major highs. So I think if you show resistance here month to month, there might be a problem. And also there's also the other line that has been support for the bank nifty, and you can see that ever since this re-entry off the lows of 2001, the market moved higher. Double bottom support here for the lows there. We touch this with uniform activity for the lows there. We touch this with uniform activity for the lows there. Uniform activity support for the lows there. So you can see now we are looking at the potential for the exact opposite. And that's why I'm saying if I was looking to buy the stock, I would be a little bit, not too aggressive, just because of the fact that the stock is coming back to levels of resistance. And let me conclude by going back. So again, if you really want to own this, you can use this all-time monthly closing high as your buy point range and see what happens. Just because it meets the minimum requirements right now as an individual stock, the sector does not, which is not a good sign. And one more time, I would use the 14383, but I would not be an aggressive buyer because of the things I discussed here. So those are the considerations I would have if I was looking to buy a stock like this one. Eric Muathe at Muathe.com, reminding you it's always good to look at the big picture to see how a stock behaves and responds over a long period of time, because that's exactly potentially what's going to happen again in the future. Peace and blessings. E-A-C-S. Boo ba ba. Boo ba ba.